Hey guys, tonight, we re-diving into a microbial survival saga that smells faint lie of wet grass and saddle, leather medieval Mongolian mare's milk, preservation. Imagine trying to keep dairy drinkable across 5,000 miles of grassland without a single refrigerator. Spoiler, you'd probably spend day one accidentally brewing toxic sludge. Right now you're recrouching beside a smoke-stained felt tent at 3:47 a.m. Mongolia slate spring air nips at your knuckles like a fuzzy lamb. Herdsman, batar, leather face mapped by decades of ultraviolet. Wind shoves. Alark would paddle into your hands. Woman who sleeps with eyes open. He grunts. That's you. Stir clockwise or the ghosts drink first. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what Ido here. Serious lie. Drop a comment below telling me your city's name and current moon phase. Mine S. A waning gibbous over Osaka tonight. Perfect for culturing anxiety. The science inside your vat. You need a paddle through viscous, off-white liquid. Modern food scientists would gasp. No temperature gauges, no pH strips, just instinct honed by generations. Who bet survival on bacterial whims? What you read, stirring iacin, just tomorrow's breakfast. It as air, AG. The lightly fermented champagne of the steppes. Miss the fermentation window by 3 hours. Congratulations, you've engineered botulism broth. Temperature chess under open sky. Batar suddenly slaps your stirring hand. Too fast. Moonlight catches the panic in his eyes. He plunges bare fingers into the vat, mouthing numbers you can comprehend. Later, ULL learn Mongols calibrated heat by how many. Cricket chirp, PS fit between fingertips. Right now, your paddle has agitated psychrophilic bacteria into overdrive. Rising bubbles smell like green. Apple's early lactic acid, dangerously close to Vinegar. Archaeology in a clay seam. Notice those thumbprints denting the vat shrimp. 12-year-old Temu Len pressed them there while her mother sang probiotic incantations. Mongol pots never got scrubbed. Centuries of bacterial biofilms clung to the clay, inoculating new batches like sourdough starters. University of Ulaanbaatar recently found 14th century Lactobacillus brueis, strains still active in shards buried near Karakoram. They lived better than we do. The wind chill variable. Batar suddenly tears off his deal robe. You flinch as he drapes it over the vat. Wrong instinct. He's not performing ritual nudity. His fingers trace goosebumps rising on the leather coating. Key preservation step. A pre-dawn temperature dip to 4C. Your vat must sweat before sunrise to activate strep to Coccus thermophilus. Miss this. The milk won't thicken. Academic war zone. Side note, modern scholars feud over why Mongolian fermentation outperformed European contemporaries. Dr. Arban in Paris argues it as superior Mare genetics. Professor Chen in Nanjing blames stealth microbes hidden in rare birch sap, Betula platyphila, stirred into the milk. But Batar spits toward the academic east. His answer, we listen. Tonight, you feel microbes vibrating under the paddle like tiny war drums. Your first microbial betrayal, a thread of gray threads through white mold. Before you gasp, Batar scoops the contamination with a silver spoon. Mongolians knew something modern labs confirmed only in 2017. Silver ions inhibit fungal DNA replication. Heat flicks the spoon toward hungry camp. Dogs saves deworming medicine. He shrugs. Efficiency is a language spoken fluently here. Controversy corner. Historians still fistfight over why Zhang, his Kong's armies, carried camel milk starters, not Mare S. Some say it traveled quieter. Batar cackles when you ask. Stupid scholars. He mutters. Camels eat salt bushes. their milk kills closed. Ridium, naturally antibacterial feed. Of course, the greatest cavalry force in history waged microbiological warfare. Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on often for that soft background hum, and let's seize into tonight's journey together. Dawn's first lilac smear bleeds over the horizon as you scoop tomorrow's first air AG into a cured horse stomach flask. The scent, victory with top notes of wild thyme and microscopic triumph. Raindrops hammer against the ox, leather saddles, like 10,000 popcorn kernels dancing at a rave. You huddle in your Bactrian camel saddle, shielding the precious mare's milk culture swad. Lead and lamb amniotic membrane, Mongolian grass, lands deliver storms without warning. Copper, coin-sized drops are hammering the migrating caravan into drenched refugees. Batar shouts something from his camel ahead, the wind shredding his words to fragments. ... Don't let the milk sleep. Squelching hooves in mud intensify. Mobile fermentation means feeling the microbial disco party inside your saddlebag with every camel step. The humps sway like metronomes, sloshing liquid against hide in rhythmic lug thumps. Modern food engineers recently discovered this 72 BPM jostling boosts lactobacillus metabolism by 237%. What you clutching ISNTA milk pouch. It as a 13th century bioreactor. Vibration therapy for microbes. When your camel plunges into a marmot hole, you rethrown 20 centimeters skyward. The liquid tsunami slams against the amniotic membrane. Bluish sparks flicker inside. Later, ULL learn these are luminescent bacteria. Photobacterium kishatani, nicknamed night. Sea sparks by herders. Somehow this deep sea organism reached the steppe via waterfowl droppings, and violent shaking makes them emit faint electricity. Suddenly, Batar rides backward, pressing his ear to your pouch. Lightning's fading slap it. Your palm strikes the hide as the blue glow flares. Actual lightning splits the sky. The art of rainproofing. Rainwater seeps through membrane seams. Batar tosses you a gray powder packet. Armpits. Tuck in armpits. It's dried wolf dung mixed with clay. Nomadic. Wisdom meets brutal practicality. While tucking this dubious US mixture under your robe. Amidst teenage ridders. Teasing whistles. The seepage spots solidify into amber rays in chit. In wolf dung had fused with body heat and rain into natural plastica material bio. Mimetics Labs only replicated in 2023. Microbial social network. When the caravan pauses at a cliffside, Batar pulls your birch stirring stick from the pouch and inserts it into a neighboring woman's milk bag. Then a third, a fourth, 6 sticks crisscross between 13 pouches like amicrobial speed. Dating, mixer, rain, soaked evidence solves. A 30-year academic debate. Mongolian fermentation networks functioned as a living internet. Max Planck Institute studies show adjacent tribes shared 91% lactobacillus genomes, while tribes 300 miles apart still shared 64%, all enabled by storm, time stick exchanges. A leather thong as pH meter. Batar bites off his leather, waist thong and hands it to you. Tie the bag. No dead knots. Rain, soaked rawhide shrinks in wind, cinching the pouch into a natural pressure valve. When gas from overactive bacteria builds up, the knot pops like a miniature geyser. Collagen, leaching from the thong drips into the milk. Nature SPH stabilizer. Labs later found adding 0.3% collagen peptides mimics this effect. You stare at the pulsing knot, a breathing acidity gauge. Blind taste test in storm after nightfall. Batar slices open your pouch. Lightning illuminates the contents. 6-hour fermentation achieved into storm-tossed hours. The tasting method screams Mongolia. He breaks moldy dried mutton, dips it in milk curd, and stuffs it into your mouth. Rancid umami collides with tart freshness, an undiscovered flavor bomb of nucleotides. A taste no lab can replicate. Born of storm-soaked wolf dung rubbed collagen-infused microbial jelly, wrapping the dampened pouch with your headscarf for insulation. You discover a hidden lump. Last night, smilk nugget stealthy lie tucked into your lining by batar starter. Body heat has transformed it into cheese candy. When your tongue touches the lactic acid crystals, their crunch resonates like geologic time as the caravan jolts forward again. Bacteria warmed against your skin devour milk proteins, tunneling through time on your taste buds. The copper bells, Shrine King under the palace eaves, suddenly make the milk pouch in your arms feel like lead. 6 imperial guards in scaled armor materia, Lizzie, through dawn mist, their waist swords glinting with frost. One overly groomed youth draws a silver needle from a sable pouch. Tribute inspection time. Wildling, the silver-clad guard twirls the needle. Know how many were skinned last year for presenting rotten milk omens. The needle tip grazes your sweaty forehead. 23 human skin drums. You hold your breath as the needle pierces the amniotic pouch. Thwick. It stabs through the curd layer into the bacterial core. The guard's wrist jerks. This milk bites microbial defense systems. You clearly see microscopic pits blackening the needle. Electron scans of similar silver needles from Shangjing ruins reveal them packed with 0.5 micron spheres of Streptococcus lactase, Mongolian specialty strain that secretes pyruvic acid upon silver contact. Instant lie, corroding metal into pockmarks. Seoul National University confirmed in 2025 that 93% of this strain carries metal resistance genes, versus only 11% in contemporary European cheese cultures. The black flakes he flicks off are silver sulfide debris, the pH trap, acid poison. Snarl as the captain examining the blackened needle. But Batar taught you the counter move. Suddenly you lift the pouch, inhale deeply 3 times, and release a steppy eagle shriek from your throat. As guards instinctively step back, you drip liquid onto moss, coating lapis lazuli. Steps hiss. The moss erupts into fluorescent green velvet. Truth revealed. The pH 3.2 fermentation liquid triggers sulfur dioxide burst TS upon contacting carbonate rock, mimicking toxicity. Microbiologists still feud whether this is microbial defense or mineralogical accident. Mobile evidence erasure. When the captain insists on confiscating the toxic pouch, you drop to your knees fumbling with trouser ties. Contaminated, you wail, pointing at spattered brown stains on your leggings. As guards recoil, the pouch accidentally smashes against rock. But instead of splattering, the liquid cools, sees like mercury, and rolls into a crevice. CAS researchers recreated this in 2028. Wool grease-coated fermented curd contains actinomyces viscosus, secreting liquid metal like protein chains too. Maintain cohesion. The curses the captain spits while crushing the empty pouch match your tribe as ancestral evidence. Destruction incantations. Bacterial memory playback. You escape punishment, but residual liquid CPS from the torn pouch like ink stains, pressing your ear to the stone. You hear bacteria, GNA wing calcium, 100, horsehead fiddles playing, Mongolia S National, Archives 39th century parchment milk crime, records documents how imperial contact. Bacteria release specific vibrations to record events on stone. In 2027, Tokyo Tech used atomic force microscopy to decode similar rock patterns, reading Tiger Year Frost Moon 7th Day. Gargagula destroyed tribute. The brown stain, spreading beneath your feet, now outlines the silver-clad guard's twisted face. Cons, microbial black market. While escorting you to clean the stain, Azalant elder guard suddenly stoops to tie his boot. Acrorated copper badge brushes your palm. Inside nests, Ashrive-led camel, milk culture, starter. This is the empire. It's the ultimate contraband. Genghis Khan, Spursernal guard. Spro Praetory, ferment. No, the Livestock Bureau beheaded 40 culture smugglers last year. Every confiscated starter circulates among the guards. Academics still debate if this white camel milk derived strain, Lactobacillus chinensis, constitutes humanity's first biopatent. Expelled from the palace gates at dusk, you unfold crumpled birch bark in your palm. Mold spots mark black market exchange points on the map the elder guard slipped you while tying his. BOOT dried milk stains reveal roots, shimmering like the guard's tainted milk. All those condemned bacteria now multiply within palace wall moss, etching their testimony into stone. When the sheepskin curtain over the cellar entrance swallows the last glimmer of daylight, your nose-street elves flood with the STI fling scent of frozen earth and fermented milk. The guide S, with red finger jabs downward along icy steps. Step blue frost, skip white frost. White is powdered dead man S. Teeth in the flickering salmon. Oil, light of his bullhorn lantern. You see blue, white, crystalline V in streaking. The ice stares a frozen galaxy, spiraling into the Earth's score. Cracks splitting ice, chime like glass wind bells. The so-called microbial war is actually a legacy from Acklin Lines' obsessed imperial consort 3 centuries ago. Repulsed by the cellar's sour odor, she ordered slaves to lay wool felt between ice layers to filter foul air. Modern cryo-electron microscopy reveals these compacted fibers formed 3-micron channels, perfect for trapping closed Rhydium botulinum flagella, while permitting spherical lactobacilli passage. A 13th century inadvertent bacterial filtration project, the blue frost underfoot, a lactobacilli metabo, light crystallized with ice, carnivore bacteria trap. The guide suddenly yanks you against an ice wall. Dozens of suspended ox bladders hover in the darkness ahead like ghostly jellyfish, their distended surfaces stud-id with ice spikes, swirling with black-green sludge. Dan, twig the flesh eaters, he whispers, his breath frosting your eyelashes. When Siberia, Sperma, Frost Lab, Fa Ed, a similar specimen in 2028, reactivated botulinum, released neurotoxin, aerosols, paralyzing 3 researchers for 76 hours. These 70-year-old bladders hold enough to shin to fell 1,000 war horses. Living thermal firewall, robe off. The guide peels off your sheepskin coat, shoving it into an ice alcove before you protest. Astonishing lie, where wool meets ice. A delicate mist rises, maintaining a precise Foshi microclimate. Ceramic pipes embedded in the walls channel snow melt from the surface, balancing external cold against body heat. Cambridge Cryo Archaeology team later modeled this. Botulinum spore, ease, stay dormant while cold, resistant lactobacilli thrive. This cellar is a meticulously designed pathogen prison. Corpse moat defenses, crunching powdery layers underfoot. The guide sneers, step firmly, these are guards. His lantern reveals fossilized spirals carpeting the ground microscopically. They read the exoskeletons of billions of desiccated kochi. Mongolians discovered botulinum releases chemicals to lure and kill rival bacteria, so they deliberately spread infected whey at Sejarin trances. Slaughtered microbes pile into alkaline calcium barriers, naturally suppressing botulinum. According to a recent Nature microbiology paper, this corpse mode rivals modern antibiotics, costing 2 tons of toxic whey per meter. Intel network in ice. The guide scrapes foil, thin flakes from the ice wall. Read, under lamplight, pressed honeycomb slices emerge, brown milk curds, frozen in wax layers. Nomadic information warfare. Cellar masters embedded dangerous strains in wax, like wanted posters circulated among tribes. Your flake bears 3 wolf teeth, marking a hyper-virulent strain from Western Lyell. Intriguing lie, the MOLD drawn bacterial map on its back matches last night's birch bark secret chart. For centuries, the empire's underground culture network thrived on these wax bulletins. Controversial testing method, open. The guide rams an ice pick into your mouth, scraping tongue, coating onto the wall. Upon contact with botulinum-infused ice crystals, indigo VE, ins bloom. Academics still debate the principle. Human soli, very amylase binds to botulinum neurotoxins, triggering discoloration, but with only 73% accuracy. This test condemned countless cellar masters. Those claw-shaped blue stains on the wall, traces of failed testers' final struggles. Dormant spore awakening when vibrations rumble overhead. The guide pales. Fools butchering sheep up there. Sound waves shake ice shards onto the bladder. Clusters, sleeping spore, clouds stir before your eyes. The near St. bladder-sized spikes melt as black-green ooze CPs through cracks. The guide smashes his bullhorn lamp into the bladders. Salmon oil ignites the leaking neurotoxins. As sapphire specters of flame billow, he drags you into a side tunnel. Run. Never look back. Behind you, the botulinum inferno emits the unsettling sweetness of caramelized egg proteins. Ahead, deeper in the ice, an aroma warm as Amre's breath. Fermentation at work spreads across the blue, frost clinging to your ankles. The saddle pommel grinds against the bruise on your abdomen with each warhorse gallop, but the real burn comes from the leather pouch at your waist. Your body heat is transforming last night's mare's milk into a bioreactor. Amidst dust clouds churned by the right flank cavalry charge, the centurion shout fractures in the wind. When the milk hardens, grip it tight and throw, fumbling with the pouch ties. Your fingers register alarming heat radiating from the swollen vessel. Quadragésimo trigésimo sexto precisely the golden temperature for Streptococcus thermophilus. Microbial frenzy. Arrows hiss past leather helmets. This so-called battlefield cheese operation is a desperate gamble, betting that microbes can solidify liquid milk into a throwable projectile before enemy contact. Beitar once demonstrated how fermenting pouches must be kneaded. Counterclockwise, 3 times every 7 minutes, or the curds stratify and fracture, but with enemy-heavy cavalry as spiked maces already 300 paces away. Your posturings in left hand, milk, kneading with right makes. You look like a deranged juggler. Gastric enzyme accelerator. When arrows suddenly darken the sky, you instinctively curl over the saddle. The moment your abdomen compresses the pouch, acid icy fumes pierce through 7 layers of ox hide to assault your nose tree LS stress-induced. Pepsin has infiltrated the milk, Ulaanbaatar, as a war history lab discovered in 2026. Mongol cavalry scombat secreted digestive enzymes shortened coagulation by 40%. That stench, case in proteins fracturing under enzymatic siege, pressure gradient warfare. As retreating soldiers flood your left flank, you spur rightward through the chaos. Thigh, muscles tremoring against the pouch, create O3 zone pressure field. Compressed upper gas cavities eject whey. Midsection bacteria frenzy in hydraulic acid production. Bottom case incompresses into mineral dense LABs. Dresden Tech SMRI reconstruction revealed the truth. Every rider is a human sentry. Fuge. Now your palm confirms the pouch space has hardened Ed into bedrock like cheese brick, while the surface remains toxic liquid, a perfect biochemical grenade in the making. Whey-coated death. The centurion suddenly snatches your pouch, tears open its crown, and dunks arrowheads into the sludge. Whey-glued. Arrowheads glisten poison green in sunlight. Give them festering wounds. He roars, distributing tainted arrows to routed troops. Modern forensics found unusually rapid putrefaction in cuticle VO battlefield skeletons. Arrows retained heat, resistant streptococcus, thermophilus that secretes hyaluronida, say, disintegrating human connective tissue for anaerobic invasion. Sepsis mortality from these cheese arrows reached 89%. Quorum sensing sabotage. When enemy war elephants shake the earth with bellows, you notice strangeness. Your pouch resonates with sound waves. The elephant's fundamental frequency. The curd layer suddenly cracks, oozing yellow fluid. Acoustic labs later proved specific low frequencies disrupt lactobacilli, quorum sensing triggering microbial mass. Suicide via premature acid eruption. Witnessing a sonic wave induced MICRO. Civilization collapse. Contested combat record. Historians still fistfight over whether curd grenades existed. Skeptics insist pouches could untab thrown beyond 10 paces, and death by dairy defies physics. But Vienna University shy speed footage captured the moment. Hardened ed. Cheese bricks impact plate armor gives. Trapped gas cavities detonate give shrapnel-like. Curd fragments pierce eyelids into brain matter. The Centurion now raises a pouch swollen like a balloon, its surface veined with bacterial tributaries. When the pouch smashes the heavy cavalryman, Sveiser, no explosion follows. White threads seep from the dented steel like contamina, Ted cotton candy. The rider charges 30 more paces before collapsing. Pink yogurt textured foam gushing from his nostrils, galloping past the corpse. You glimpse through his visor's crack. His eye balls slowly shroud ed by milky mycelium against your hip. The replacement pouch swarm th already incubates the next microscopic war. The full moon floats like a silver coin steeping in a milk vat, casting bluish light over the array of fermentation jars outside the yurt. The shaman's gaunt shadow falls across you as his dear bone staff tilts your chin. Close eyes. Count breaths. Wait for moonlight to flood your eye sockets. When your eyelids seal, you hear the metallic tremor of bronze mesh scraping jar rim ceiling as wolfsbane pollen, fine as dust, drifts through moonlit curtains into milk inoculated 12 hours prior. Bronze mesh buzzing against pottery. This preservation ritual is actually a precision timing system. A 2029 Nature ETH No science paper revealed Mongol shamans only scatter pollen when the moon reaches 73.3 altitude, exactly 9 lux of lunar illumination that activates light-sensitive toxins. Aconitine in pollen, sheep bone marrow fat pre-coated on jar interiors regulates to shin concentration to 0.4 ppm, enough to suppress gram-positive bacteria while sparing acid, producing lactobacilli, that cloying, metallic scent in your nostrils. The death perfume of wolfsbane, reacting with moonlight, stellar stirring technique. The shaman suddenly plunges your hand into a jar. Trace the deeper. Fingers swirl, counterclock, wise through visco, us liquid, sketching 7 stars. Magnetic iron powder, hidden at the jar space whirlpools upward, rousing dormant lactobacillus acidophilus. NASA orbital archaeology team later discovered this constellation pattern matched contemporary magnetic declination. Geomagnetic microdisturbances boosted microbial metabolism by 19%. Milky strands stretching between your fingers shimmer with iridescence, protein chains realigning under magnetic fields. Pollen detonation. When an owl screech pierces the silence, the shaman slams the jar shrim. Resonant vibrations trigger sunken pollen to explode into MIST. Modern gas chromatography captured the miracle. Wolfsbane pollen walls shatter at 142 Hz, releasing swainsinine that blankets the milk surface with a nanoscale waterproof layer. Herders call this moon silvering sound wave-driven molecular self-assembly. The owl now perched on the shaman's shoulder, a living sonic trigger. living toxin monitor. Hand. The shaman slices your fingertip, flicking blood into the jar. Upon contacting milk, crimson and gold vortexes bloom. Controversial. Research suggests human hemoglobin binds to wolfsbane toxins. Changing color. Gold rings indicate safety thresholds. Red signals lethality. Most scholars dismiss this as mere hemolysis. Your jar now swirls with a perfect golden bullseye. The shaman per RS approval. Hallucinogenic fermentation debate. At the jar array's edge, a youth suddenly tears his robes in dance, where his tongue licks pollen residue on a jar shrimp. Blue-green fluorescence glows. Mad milk descends. The shaman murmurs. Harvard Neuroscience. Simulations found 0.2 ppm wolfsbane pollen plus. Lactic metabolites activate human brain kappa opioid receptors, inducing mild euphoria. Oxford University vehement lie refutes this, attributing dances to frostbite spa, SMS. Academic warfare rages in the jar's reflections. Lunar dialysis effect. As the shaman seals your chosen jar with roe deer hide, clouds swallow the moon. The milk beneath the membrane emits phosphorescence. Anaerobic. Bacteria release bioluminescence that refracts through hide pore ease into constellations. See Sirius position. The shaman whispers. Satellite imagery later confirmed starlight penetrating cloud gaps, aligned with the bacterial star map within 0.73. Bacteria conversing with the cosmos via light. Pollen time capsule. Rituals end. The shaman scrapes jars they dement into an ox horn. Burying this horn of time in permafrost, you glimpse 3 zigzag grooves, carved near its tip in 2041. Thawing a similar horn from Siberian permafrost, Germany East Max Planck Institute revived viable wolfsbane pollen. The grooves decoded as tiger year. Hail moon. Mad cultures forbidden. What's buried ISN preservative, but biochemical warnings for future civilizations. The shaman paints symbols on your forehead with milk. Residual pollen burns mint. Cool against your skin. Migrate west if you dream of a three-eyed horse, he hisses. Later you learn three-eyed horse symbolizes toxic clostridium colonies. As moonlight slides past tree branches, pollen-saturated milk brews 1,000-year. Dormancy pacts within pottery bellies. Camel bells shatter the moon, springs ripples into quicksilver as moldy green fur sprouts from the fermented curd bricks in your saddlebag. A sog, the young merchant, lifts a piece with bone tweezers against an oil lamp. Fine mold. Halo Ed with 3-finger. Wide fur. True step silver. When he blows spories into the tavern air, glowing particles scatter like a miniature Milky Way. This is the only currency bandits won't touch. MOL de-ripened cheese curds. Clinking silver coins in clay trays. This mycelium currency operates as a live, anti-counterfeiting system. Each curd embeds half a wild oat grain. Its amylase activity dictates fungal growth rate. University of Science and Technology Beijing analyzed Lulan excavated curd coins, finding mycelial density proportional to caravan migration distance. Camelback jostling serves as a natural incubator. The velvet layer beneath your fingers embodies 3,000 kilometers of wind and vibration. Spore credit rating. When a Persian merchant presents royal curd in velvet, the Sogdiang whips out malachite loops under magnification. Gold flecks glitter on hyphae tips. Camel milk counterfeit. Evidence hides in sclerotia structure. Pure mare's milk curd develops spiral. Hyph A. aspergillus mongolicus. While camel milk blends form obtuse branches. Modern gene sequencing proves camel lactoferrin methylates fungal DNA. The exposed man turns. Ashen mycelium is his credit report. Mycelium armor craft, currency armor. The Sog, Diang hurls curds into boiling horse bone. Glue. Fungi voracious lie absorb collagen, hardening into translucent carapaces. Cambridge Materials Lab marveled at this 10th century innovation. Fungal chit in bonded peptides create composite, armor outperforming Kevlar. Armored curd coins survive camel stomp. P.S. At the cost of 2 war. Horses laurin GIL cartilage per batch. Cross-species currency war. TB10 merchants haul in honey. Infused curds, the Sogdion sneers. Poison coins, flicking black curds toward them. Yellow TB10, A. Instant lie, wither. Molecular biology decodes the warfare. TB10s fermented with Himalayan cliff, honeycombs, while Sogdion black curds carry antifungal actinomycetes. Invisible economic battle is microbial-chemical warfare, luminescent authentication debate. Slicing open a glowcore curd, the merchant declares, moon radiant treasure. But Oxford archaeologists insisted medieval fluorescent coins were radiation contamination until Dang Wang manuscripts, CI Ted Blue, Moreau. Coins paid for 3 tiger skins. The bioluminescent protein lacked of laurycin in your palm, sourced from Tianshan Snow Lotus Symbiont TS, was verified in 2028. Mycelium communication network. When tavern candles extinguish, simultaneous lie bandit alert. All curd sacks pulse with chartra use light. Hyphal networks connect into dendritic escape. Maps in darkness. Fraunhofer Institute experiments later proved. STRESS. Induced meco-electrical signals transmit through this network at 3.2 centimeters hour. The physical basis of nomadic blockchain. Dormant spore bonds. Transactions end. The Sogdion extracts your curd, SSCL, Erotia, with a silver needle, sealing it in hollowed ivory. This is the mother coin. Present this in Samark, and add a decade later to redeem with interest. Dormant spore ease. Activate under precise humidity. Venice archives hold a 14th century lawsuit. An Italian merchant owed gold. Wait, compensation when premature lie germina. Ted Haifa shattered his ivory bond, tucking the ivory seal against your skin. You watch the Sogdion build walls with moldy curds. Luminescent, Mycelium V, ends through rammed earth, absorbing moisture to fortify structure. Moonlight bathes the breathing tavern. Fresh, curd, fuzz brushes your wrist. A reminder that these living currencies measure the silk, road's credit radius with hyphal tendrils. When imperial craftsmen shoveled rancid cheese into stone mortar, the cloying sweetness of decay tightens your throat. Eyes open wide, the foreman slaps semi-solid curds against the palace wall with a bone spatula. The mold, streaked sludge squirms into rammed earth like living mortar, the tremorous birth of architect Euromicrobiology, wet squelch of rotten milk hitting stone. This mycelial architecture was originally Akon's punishment. Defeated soldiers repairing enemy walls with their own spoiled curds. University of Tokyo Biomaterial Labs recreated this. When geotrichum candid reacts with calcium carbonate, it secretes filamentous binders. Lactocrete, rivaling Roman concrete beneath your feet. 10 tons of enemy pride solidify, permanent lie within mycelial nets. The compass paradox of spoilage mortar, when an apprentice smears. Yogurt, plaster on the sunny side, the foreman roars. North wall, only north. Adibo test telegranatrith, TUM solar trajectory simulator reveals, SOUTH. Facing walls, hasten microbial metabolism, producing corrosive propionic acid. North side mycelia weave crystalline, nets at 5 micrometers per second in your palm. This cool shadowed curd spawns. Biasment 9 times harder than steel. Structural alert rings. A scout suddenly points at concentric rust. Red rings staining the wall. Turlog factions poisoned milk. The foreman scrapes off diseased layers. Their milk held snake venom. Modern research shows heavy metal ions trigger carotenoid secretion in fungi, a 13th century structural Damage warning system predating spectral analysis by 400 years. The insect sludge smells of scorched scorpions. Controversial reinforcement. Blood bind. The foreman slits a goat's throat, splashing steaming blood over curd layers. A Cambridge Cairo team fights in science over whether serum albumin reinforces mycelial nets or signifies ritual magic. You witness VE-ins ballooning into coral shapes, yet pressure tests show 12% decreased strength. Academia still replicates this failed experiment. Mycelial heating system as Arctic winds freeze thermometers. Faint steam curls from curd-patched sections. Press your ear to the wall. Glacial meltwater murmurs within. ETH. Zurich. Thermal imaging confirms. Fermenting microbes heat wall cores to 43°C. This rancid dairy waste is zero energy biofuel. Heating your frostbit. 10 fingers pressed to stone feel like warm warhorse flanks. Self-regulating gravity matrix. Groans echo through the palace as honey, like ooze, leaks from cracks. Good sign. The foreman stops repairs. Life knows balance. Satellite scans later reveal 300 kilometers of mycelial walls, self-adjusted elevation. Over 7 centuries, with under 3 centimeters deviation. Infected sea page is microbial structural glue. Lactobiodosive. Mending stress fractures. Military-grade soundproof ferment. Guards clear the area as the foreman unseals a copper chest. Musky purple paste glistens. Watchtower coat. Enemy cavalry hooves near the tower become silent. MIT acoustics. Lab decoded the medieval tech. Active yogurt coating contains 0.3 mom nanopore that absorb 90% of acoustic frequencies. Scout. Corpses beneath the tower. Never heard crossbows cocking as sunset transforms mycelial nets into bronze circuit boards. The foreman chips. A fossilized curd plug from the wall for you. Fire starter. 50 years later, as flames consume the palace, a refugee carries this curd, once belonging to enemies. It's dormant. Lactobacillus ignis, igniting their tribe's first bonfire. The glacial pig chips through the final half meter of permafrost when azurite glinting off. A bronze jar illuminates your frost-caked brow. Hanging from the ceiling of this Siberian burial vault are hundreds of mummy, FIED, horse fetus, stalactites, each thoracic cavity cradling a pool of turquoise. Ice milk, a 13th century Mongolian living, culture bank dormant for 7 centuries. Ripping silk sound of frozen fetus cavities. The shaman wraps your right hand in suede. Awaken the ice sleepers with bone warmth. When fingers penetrate Mare fetus frozen ribcage, fingerprint-like bacterial films bloom across the ice milk surface. Labs would NT decipher this until 2071. Body heat conducted through knuckle bones. Triggers Psychrophilus reviviscens 2. Secrete freezing point leaping enzymes, transforming 18 solid into collectible slime. Blue droplets trailing your fingers etch firm patterns into ice. Memory engraving in microbes. The shaman slices open another fetus birch bark. Script frozen within milk. UV light reveals faded script. Golden horde comperished in rat year as frost moon. Air sculpture stored here. The Danish Center for Paleographic AI confirmed that strep 2 coccus mutans crystallized along letter strokes. Humanity's first bacterial data storage. Medium. As thawing milk erases the text, history revives with the microbes. Phase protection paradox. The shaman snatches your hand from a golden fetus. Toxic vault of the sun con. Milk inside forms. Aperfect. Anti-gravity sphere. Levitating bubbles. MIT cryogenics mimicked this for containerless storage. Liquid methane bubbles preserve cultures at extremes. The 13th century. Warning proved cool. Puncturing bubbles releases dormant Yersinia. PESTIS. Transforming this library into abio weapons cache. Controversial resurrection ritual. The shaman cuts open a mummified mare suturas, inject ing-fa-ed cultures into the desiccated placenta, transplacental revivification. Embryology institutes called it witchcraft until Edinburgh Regenerative Medicine Center dissected samples, placental tissue releasing thymosin beta for rebuild, microbial cell walls. Stranger still, the ancient placenta began pulsing weekly, science-defying phenomena, now breathing in frozen tombs. Geomagnetic hyphal network. When your oil lamp dies mid-collection, fluorescent green paths ignite beneath your boots. Microbes etch dendritic light trails through salt frost floors. ESA later discovered hive. A strict lie followed 1250 geomagnetic ISO. Kleins. Mongols used magnetic inclination to navigate culture repositories within 0.5 accuracy. You tread upon a Sivan century-old biological compass into the vault's depths. Vacuum suspension miracle. Above you hangs the crystal equine embryo coffin, a fetus vacuum sealed in intestinal membrane, floating in a mercury amalgam liquid mirror. Johns Hopkins marveled at preservation. Vacuum, halting oxidation plus mercury ions, inhibiting enzymes plus liquid mirror reflecting, all light. Wall inscriptions worn. Light killed cultures when looters shattered it in 2015. Cultures carbonized in seconds. Psychrophilic civilization backup as the shaman fastens a jade flask of cultures to your waist. Cracks echo through melting ice cores. Run. He shoves you into an ice slide escape tunnel, staying as the tomb collapses. Your last sight. Frozen fetuses plunging like meteors as the old shaman sings amid blue bacterial glow. Lactobacillus huminis in his chest will enter dormancy upon host death, awaiting excavation as symbiotic time. Capsules for future civilizations. In the gale outside the tomb, the jade flask thrums electric pulses against your skin. Reviving. Psychrophilic. Bacteria inside split at fission speed, rebuilding empires. Meanwhile, in the collapsing Siberian tomb, turquoise bacteria crawling within adis, integrating fetal cavity coals, CE into a glacial epitaph. Life in permafrost always wakes before mankind's demise. On the 39th day of the grassland blizzard, ominous gurgles ooghed from the pottery array in the yurt corner over fermented milk bubbles, bursting at the jar bases. Anaerobic uprising imminent. 15-year older shepherd Stromaen fastens her sheepskin robe, revealing an abacus made of bone beads threaded on to her rib cage. 28 hoof. Bone counters sway with her breath. Jar 9 bubbles 3 times per minute. Needs wolfsbane pollen now. Click of bone beads against ribs. You re-stunned to see algorithm table carved into her flank. When jar vibrations hit 12G, her fingers instinctively slide to specific intercostal spaces. Microbes seek calculus salvation. Caltech S. Math History Center reconstructed. This living calculator, her microbial pro-life ration formula precedes Napier slog ARIT HMS by 347 years with 0.08% error. Differential thermoregulation. Droma suddenly plunges. Frostbit 10 fingers into a jar. Cool 2 degrees. As temperature drops from 40.3 CTO, 38.1 C. Boiling milk settles instantly. FU Berlin. Confirms skin contact area times thermal. Differential equals cooling efficiency, but she never realized her chilblains formed annatural thermo. Couple sensor. This shivering girl balances fermentation thresholds via a human PID system. Geometric mode alerts. Jar 7 rebels. She points to a newly bloomed green amulet ring. 3 centimeters mold circles signal Streptococcus lactis 12 times. Over limit. ETH Zurich's fractal analysis shows MOLD edges with Hausdorff dimension 1.76. Indicate microbial rebellion. Now she dips horsetail hair in camel tears. Tau being the precise 6 o'clock position of the ring acid base weak point, as if rewinding a bacterial war clock. Biomathematical feud. She plagiarized Euler. Cambridge Professor Harvey claims her rib. Equations resemble infinite series. Expansion. Moscow State retaliates. Mongols taught Swiss to feed horses. The truth emerged in 2026 on Batu Khan's coin. Inscriptions. Tax collectors used probability distributions to calculate cheese yields. Droma Shrib formulas are mathematical. Gene bullets that once conquered Europe. Barometric compensation. When blasts tear off half the yurt. Droma slams fermentation jars. Triple lemonade felt. You witness her compensate for each 0.5 kilopascals pressure drop with felt thickness delta. NASA later. CI TED this in Mars fermentation trials, using micropore ES plus wool fibers to create self-regulating atmospheric membranes. Torn felt, pieces swirling in snow, now inscribe golden spirals. Cross-jar bacterial SOS. When jar 11 erupts, a jar 5 meters away instant lie crusts. Over. Droma shifts bone counters. Bacteria cry for help. Tom captured infrasound pulses. 47 Hz signals from closed iridium perforin gens. Activate neighbor yeasts through frozen ground. What she hears pressing her spine to earth is humanity's first record ed. Microbial Morse distress signal. Pain-calibrated metrology. Droma teaches you to gauge temperatures via intercostal pain. Third rib stings equals 43 degrees Celsius. Add ice. Seventh rib aches equals 37 degrees Celsius. Add felt as the jars stabilize. Her frostbit 10 fingernails detach pain. Calibration sprites. 50 paces away. A Swedish professor struggles with thermocouples. His error rate 7 times hers. When the blizzard dies, frost crystallizes the rib. Abacus matrix across. Droma's frozen ribs. Scraping. Bacterial sludge from discarded jars. She smears it into your palm. Trade for salt in town. This sludge holds cubic root ciphers. 8 days into the trading caravan. Squatting in Samarkand market. Your fingers unconscious lie. Sketch humanity as first hyperbolic function chart in the sand. The cloying sweetness of festering wounds mingles with sour curd-led mare's milk as the field medic slaps mold, speckled green paste onto your arrow injury, rotting flesh edges instant light glow, blue like phosphorus flames devouring decay. The Mongol campaign into Transoxiana, a mysterious fever devours the 3rd Cavalry Regiment. Tents overflow, with amputees dying of sepsis. Yet the green mold on your wound actively feasts on pus. 13th century antimicrobial therapy in its direst incarnation. Sickly suction of fungi draining suppuration. The medic scoops more. Gelatino. U.S. Curd from 8K hide pouch. Mold is infantry. Blood is territory. Modern. DNA sequencing revealed 3 streptomycete strains. Streptomyces fradia, ancestor of Neomycin. Streptomyces griseus, primitive streptomycin. An unnamed strain, XO super predator devouring. Pseudomonas aeruginosa, black, green juice, oozing from your ribs etches. Snakeskin patterns into the straw mat. pH warfare, when rotting tissue leaks lemon yellow fluid. Thematic doses, the wound with horse urine pH 9.2. Alkalinity transforms blue flames into crimson. Cambridge Infection Lab recreated this. Alkalis activate streptomyces to secrete alkaline lytic enzymes. But the true killer is hippurate ions binding with curd proteins to form bionanocannons that pierce bacterial walls. Pus vaporizes into peach. Mist as exposed bone gleams beneath. Myceliovascular repair. Arterial blood suddenly jets from a rupture. The medic presses moldy sheep wool against it. Spin your nets. Hive. A. Instant lie. Expand into dendritic nets. N. Snaring the vessel. The Lancet. Published contested footage. Penicillium lanosome hive. coated with collagen. Mimetic polymers beta glucan. Mas galactomana trigger rapid platelet aggregation. Your severed artery is being sewed red by a living mycelial scaffold. Spurts fading to rhythmic pulses. Neuropathic symbiosis. Pain vanishes faster than opium. White cordyceps, like Hive, a cordyceps martialis, emerge too. Gently massage nerve bundles. Vienna Medical University found gabapentin analog compounds in the fungus, dismissed by peers as terminal delirium. How could wild cordyceps enter Mare's milk? Unnoticed, the medic's pouch steeps with Killian, mountain insect cadavers, that cloying aroma wafting from your wound, neurotransmission silence. Via fungal hijacking, immune hijack technology, after your fever breaks, the medic scrapes your SCA abs on 2 new casual ties. Share your lifeblood. 30 hours later, patients miraculously synchronize recovery. Sweden Skarland Ska Institute discovered memory T cells in survivors' SEABs altered by streptomycetes into live antibiotic. Factories spread by contact into hive immunity. Immunology's foundations crumbled before. Mongolian microbiology microbes mastered. Collective immunity centuries prior. Pathogen detection bioluminescence. When a scout captain swound amidst indigo mist, the medic scrambles backward. Plague blood. Fluorescent spore ease. EOET. Upped from the man's spore ease before he explodes into blue aerosol. Harbin Institute decoded this. Yersinia pest is infected blood plus Mongolian. Streptomycetes detonate aerosolized phage bombs. The airborne blue plague engulfs the enemy. CAMP, a medieval biotarge, TED, weapon triggered before your eyes. Microbial sacrifice ritual, midnight camp glows with wound blue bioluminescence as the medic harvests fluid from healed scars. Return, borrow, add soldiers. Recovered. Soldiers later die of kidney failure. Their hemoglobin converted to streptogram, consumed. Their iron reserves. These luminous survivors were nothing but living pharmaceutical factories sacrificed to microbes. The medic vanishes toward. Wolf howl owls when snow clears, leaving you asked off green lump within your healing wound. Dormant cobweb, like fungi lie ready. A decade later at Constantinople siege, when an arrow tears open the old scar, fluorescent hypha blaze through your flesh too. Form defenses. Genoese crossbowmen die baffled. Why did the Mongol captain shrouding wounds pulse with glowing nebula E when the 3-string lute presses against the Mare stirred intercostal space? Glacial meltwater like resonance thrums deep within her abdomen. The horse taming Cronus, frost-cracked fingers plucked the strings. Doomwing and the Mare, grieving her lost foal, suddenly lifts her head as warm milk trickles into your birch bark bucket pastoral. Psycho-acoustic domestication begins. Prolongate plinking of milk in wood. Buried herders long knew grief blocks oxytocin in mammals. Vienna Medical University, S. 2029. Neural imaging proved sustained 63.4 Hz harmonic. Overtones trigger oxytocin tsunamis in equine amygdalae. But the true marvel. Sinews from reindeer tendons strung on the lute naturally resonate at the Mare's cardiac systolic frequency. Its vibrations replaying phantom, fetal heartbeats in her chest. Acoustic imprinting of lactation. The crone taps her bow against ice. The Mare stamps. Complex rhythms. Infrasound from horseshoes penetrates permafrost. Waking, hibernating marmots whose chirr, PS, harmonize. Grenoble Acoustics Lab observed 21.7 GA seismic pulses triggering synchronized lactation in mammals within 5 kilometers. The annual communal milk ceremony at spring greening rebuilds the grassland circadian rhythm. Biochemical milking protocol. Dawn's first light scrapes the horizon as the crone shifts the bow to her left armpit, right fingers pressing Morse-like sequences along the Mare's mammary vein. Uppsala University decoded this. Fingertip pressure gradients. 3.2 千帕 increments modulate melatonin concentrations, timing milking within plus or minus 42 seconds. Milk vapors rising from your bucket freeze into sundial-like rings. Matriarchal society debate, human tunes for horse. Fool. The crone spits toward arguing scholars. Horses taught humans the lute. Cob do petroglyphs. Show wild herds strumming, dangling pine tendons under full moons. 6,000 years ago precise lie 63.4 hertz. Vibrations per spectral analysis. Predating human lutes by 4 millennia. Scholars still feud. Did humans domesticate horses, or did mammary glands domesticate humanity? Photoperiodic memory transfer. Magic unfolds during blizzards. The crone hangs a cold, light mineral on her lute handle. Mares secrete colostrum on schedule under faint glow. Max Planck Institute stark room shocker. Retinal photoproteins store circadian data as light-sensitive enzyme pulses, transmitted via vagus nerves into mammary. Biological clocks during lute play. Outside the zero visibility storm, the mineral glows like amabile lactation aurora. Sonic pain threshold reset. When a string snaps, the mare kicks over the bucket in agony. The crone slashes her foria RM, soaking fresh strings in blood. Let pain teach pain. Science published the contested findings. Human bradykin in released during pain travels through lute amino acid chains. Temporary lie, raising animals, pain tolerance. 17 scar scales on her arm record, a lifetime of equine pain. Calibration, stellar synchronization. Winter solstice, midnight. The crone points to the constellation Ursa Major. Mark Mizar's flicker as she plucks the corresponding string. A 21 cm hydrogen line frequency pulses from the Mare. Sutter, detectable only by radio. Telescopes, ESA confirmed lute frequencies, resonated with galactic rotation, triggering prolactin release. Unconscious, interstellar biorhythm sinking. Departing the crone presses the blood, strong lute into your hands. Feed at your tears when strings break. A decade later, trapped in Apamere avalanche with your caravan, the last string shreds and gales. Desperate tears freeze inside the string groove, reformed as an ice string. Its vibration unleashes lactation from dying mares. Above, the Mizar star drenches glaciers with billion-year-old light as cosmic echoes surge through. Frozen milk in iced sheepskin bags. When the silversmith drills the Big Dipper S constellation into the bowl space with obone all, droplets of milk hang suspended mid-air like comet trails. Not magic, but the alloy bowl, leveraging diamagnetism against gravity. Pastoral anti-gravity applications. The elder examiner lifts the bowl toward Polaris. Drip milk, the first drop passing through the Dubhe starbore solidifies mid-air, gleaming with bronze cold luster. Frozen, catechesis derived from 4th century BCE steppe metallurgy. Glass-like shatter of milk pearls hitting ice. This stellar quality inspection harnesses the 23.5 axial tilt as Anatural Cryo Lab. Germany, SMAX, Planck Institute, verified at frost seasons. Twilight 48.8 N. Dubhe S9.3 lux luminance triggers kappa case in crystallization, nucleation, solidification. Speed reveals protein content. But the milk drop, passing Migres, Espor, disperses. Like MIST, mark of inferior milk. Silver iron chronometer, as the elder jams a silver wedge into the bowl shandle. Suspended pearls rapidly solidify. Fool, adulterated with sheep milk. He points a flocculent, sediment within. Translucent pearls. Mass. Spectrometry later revealed. Equine lactator. In chains form crystal. Lattice catalyzed by silver ions. While caprine lactoglobulin fractures. Structures. The accused man now sits bound atop Ayok, showered with spoiled sheep milk at each camp. Photolithographic bacteria mapping. Magic unfolds at the alkade bore. Unfrozen milk spreads across ice in aurora-like fractals. The elder scoops hearth ash. Behold maggots. Charcoal dust outlines salmonella clusters. Leiden University's photo. Chemistry lab replicated this. Star light wavelength THS plus protein folding create a primitive developer effect, magnifying pathogen shadows. 200x across milk VENs. Celestial calibration feud. They mistook the pole star. Sorbonne professors thundered against using Dubhe instead of Polaris. Shi and Zhao. Tong University simulations revealed precession shifts in 1220 aligned Dubhe with Mongolia's winter milk. Fat testing window. The bowl spore pattern mirrors the Big Dipper S position millennia ago. Unwitting astroarchaeology. Wind turbulence compensator. When gales topple the ice platform, the elder rotates the bowl. Leopard reliefs facing windward. Airflow through grooves creates KRM and vortex streets. Neutralizing turbulence. NASA wind tunnels confirmed 0.07% trajectory deviation. Milk droplets pierce scales like ballista bolts. Lactose astrocrystallography before the dimmest vector. The elder grips your wrist. Hold breath thrice. Synchronized breathing rhythms induce milk pearls to explode into hexagonal blossoms. Hexagonal crystals marking premium lactose. Cambridge crystallographic database archived this. Human respiratory co-alters. Crystallization. Surface tension. Millennia later, these diamond flower specimens still bloom in Royal Society displays. Microbial stellar stress response. At midnight, starlight pierces clouds. Double shot. The elder commands. Twin drops pierce Mizar, and alioth bores solidifying into disparate textures. Cryo-M later showed 455 nanometers Mizar light stimulated probiotics to secrete antifreeze proteins, while 498 nanometers alioth wavelength cages spur red E. coli growth. Side by side frozen light, engraved, microbial reliefs became hygiene instruction artifact. A dong. The elder presses flaw-add pearls into a bone flute, sounding dirges warning the camps. Today as punished herdsmen must flame. Sterilizavats. A decade later at Constantinople siege, you raise the bowl toward the unfamiliar southern cross as milk tester for the campaign. The first foreign cow milk solidifies through the crux, bore into perfect snowflake, dendritic form. Hear stars from the 48.8 N. Step, reignite in your palm. The stench of sheep plasma blended with rancid. Green curd stings your nostrils as the rebel leader scimitar presses against your neck. Build me a fort with this scrap. Forced to dip putrid milk bricks into warm blood. The mixture erupts in mushroom cloud vapor as billions of silver hive. A surge from mortar seams. 13th century Mongolian biomaterials resurrected in desperation. Mycelium devouring stone like silkworms. Rotten curd. Slactic streptococcus cadavers. Streptococcus lactis cadaverus, catalyzed by blood iron ions, form a fungal rebar framework. Me. Phycoribar. ETH. Zurich S. Load tests stunned engineers. A 3x3 microbrick wall bore 18 tons versus 9 tons for concrete. As the rebel leader kicks test bricks, dendritic light pulses through hypho networks like arboreal VE in passive thermal sweat gland mimicry. During the sudden blizzard, prisoners shiver under blankets while your walls emit steam. Maintaining a steady 16-Cori Cambridge architecture, thermal imaging revealed hygroscopic trehalose absorbs moisture for evaporative cooling, while ammonium ions from decaying proteins regulate phase transitions. By dawn, an ice shell coats the surface while internal heat pulses mimic sweat. Gland thermoregulation. Blood calcium soundproofing. Sentries shout at footsteps. The leader halts them. The wall eats. Sound hive. A synthesize 0.3 millimeters. Aragonite. Micro. Crystalline. Lattice from blood calcium. creating aperous sound matrix. MIT Acoustics Lab confirmed 34 decibels. Noise reduction 11 dB over modern insulation. At daybreak, enemy cavalry approaches within 300 paces as the wall converts hoofbeats into infrasound pulsing, downward waking, hibernating snakes for an organic alarm system. Controversial self-healing. Siege rams crack the foundation. The rebel leader slits a horse throat. Repair. Blood-soaked hive. A swell into coral like growth sealing gaps. Nature Materials debates whether this is platelet mimetic repair, hypofibrin plus thrombin, or mere pro-life. Ration. Berlin S Demolition Lab film ad. Horror. Mycobrix injected with horse blood swelled 260%, crushing the ram into stone. Healed blood clot. Columns pulse rhythmically like alien hearts. Photosynthetic fuel reversal. A dawn. Eerie green fluorescence spreads across sunlit walls. The leader orders soldiers to scrape off, which moss sparks fly where shovels strike. Linz Bioenergy Institute decoded. Acided Hyobacillus ferrooxidans converts sulfides into chemical energy. Scraped mycelia spontaneously combust. Flames dying as daylight fades. This wall learns to photosynthesize ruins into batteries. Emotional resonance. Contamination. When a captive poet sings against the wall, violet fungal blooms erupt. That night, rebels flee screaming, slaughtering each other in shared nightmares. Zurich Neuropsychopharmacology traced this. Hive A absorbs sound vibrations to secrete air. Born phenethylamine analogs. Lamont. Frequencies 189 to 220 Hz activate the compound S. Psychedelic properties amplified 9x by the aragonite lattice. Locals now call the abandoned structure the nightmare-devouring lodge. Gravitational miscelogens. As foundations sink one night, base layer mycobrix autonomously secrete mucus to slide into depressions. TUM laser scans revealed hyphal networks thickening 470% where bedrock subsided, secreting silica gel to fill voids. More shocking, solidified gel mimics Byzantine flying. Buttresses, microbes, mastered self. Supporting catenary arches 600 years before humans. When imperial troops crush the rebellion, the rebel leader immolates himself at the mycological core. Flames transform lactic vapors into fields of toxic poppies. 5 years later, as a prisoner returning to ruins, you trip on charred foundations, elbow blood, awake NS dormant hive. A glowing tendrils instantly bandage your wound. Wind scattered. Ashes from pyred rebels carry thermophilic spore ease to new battlefields. As gunpowder smoke blends with sour milk vapor, enemy rockets ignite the last 30 fermentation skins. Lactobacillus fermentum cultures deed to nodding into green fire rain, clutching the gilded urn stolen from the golden horde Mycelium. Its interior cradling Genghis Khan's personal guard, microbial legacies. The preserved cultures pulse within mutton, fat padding with each hoofbeat. Bacterial films whisper against pottery like distant stars. A fleeing tribal chief suddenly yanks you prone. Follow the 7-inch light trails. Moonlight cuts silver paths through scorched earth. Fluorescent escape routes. A photo. Bacterium mongolicus. Feasting on nitro compounds. University of Malta. Conflict archaeology later confirmed. Strategically buried rancid cheese. Creates glycerin light guides. Refracting moonlight. Precise lie 1.7 kilometers. Pheromonic surrender. Pursue are as close within 300 paces. The chief crumbles stinking curds into a stream enemy. Horses downstream collapse in false labor fits. London's Animal Behavior Journal documented this microbial metabolite. 19. Nortestosterone analog crossing the blood-brain barrier, staining the tribe's legacy with witchcraft accusations. Resonant collective sacrifice. Slitting his throat, the chief shoves a bone flute between your teeth. play tremors within the earth. Dying blood sprays the flute, emitting a 17.4 Hz subsonic elegy. Muni, CH, sonic. Archives captured its frequency, resonating with cardiac arrest. 50 warriors explosive lie, aerosolize into streptococcus thanatos fog, engulfing the vanguard. Controversial viability preservation. The gilded urn cracks mid-flight. You press it against your abdomen, body warm th. Enveloping, leaking cultures. Oxford mocked. Primitive thermoregulation until soul. National Culture Collection 2031 proved perium. Bilical temperature. Fluctuation 36.2, 0.3 grados. Best sustains. Lactobacillus canensis. Vanquished despair now nourishes. Lost empires against your skin. Celestial mycelial compass. Total darkness falls. A ching spreads across. Your palm, silver, dendritic. Patterns grow, pointing unwavering to Polaris. ESA path analysis revealed. Geomagnetic forces guided hypofractal networks with 0.05 arc-second precision, the only human civilization to navigate. Via living astromicrobiology, cross-species rebellion, collapsing, exhausted. You pour the last culture into your dying war. Horse mouth. As pursue RS circle with torches, the horse's pupils contract into reptilian slits. Lactobacillus equimutants hijack its optic nerves, while horses slaughter their riders. Surviving cultures flee north. Modern veterinary genomics traces this pupil, distorting symbiont gene in all Mongolian steed descendants. Yogurt jellyfish arc. At the cliff's edge, the urn shatters. Mutant fat. Wrapped curd plunges into assault lake, swelling into acolossal lacto jellyfish. Medusa misses lactis. 17 meters diameter arrows pierce its gelatino. Us. Body as you sink into bioluminescent warmth. These war-scarred microbes build a floating citadel of survival, its translucent dome ferrying you toward Arctic auroras. Bioluminescence washes over eyelids as you drift on Arctic floes. Warmth pulses beneath your ribs. Hive, A from battlefields away, nest within. Milky, droplets coals, sea into miniature grasslands. Beneath polar lights, bacterial constellations swirl, a Mongolian proverb across the ice. We swallow war, fermenting life's sustaining sourness. Gentle epilogue, wind stills, mycelia warming the ice radiate like a foe's first breath against your chest. Warhorses and siege engines dissolve into the yogurt, jellyfish, scaroline embrace. Aurora ripples smear bacterial script into nebulous, light stars pulverized by shamans, scattering cosmic dust over frozen lakes. Close your eyes now, cracking glaciers filter into low abbeys as brevibacterium. Line, NS breakdown, ice algae, releasing spring meadow, aldehydes, microbial. Ghost steeds bear you toward dreams deeper than history. ... Dancing eyelash lights are in stars. Psychrophilic bacteria recompose starfields with fluorescent proteins. Fissures in the shattered urn bloom with new rivers, where tales of iron and blood nourish rebirth. Beneath the ice, mycelial networks tremble with nascent whispers. Sleep. When mankind forgets how to ferment hope, we shall awaken in thawing glaciers. Warmth climbs your limbs. Bacteria. Kayech. O umlaut. Milo. Abis against your ribs. Fission rhythms lulling you into silence. Iron and fire. Milk and microbes. Life and death. All dissolve into moonlit velvet. No battlefields wait in slumber as embrace. Only pulsing silver mycelia, tender as a newborn colt's heartbeat. End of story. Rest well.